Hi, and welcome back to the Art Biz, where we dive deep into the business of being an artist, sharing inspiring stories and actionable insights from artists and art professionals. I'm Alyson Stanfield, and my mission on this show, as well as in all of my classes and coaching programs at Art Biz Success, is to help you elevate your career, amplify your visibility, and connect your art to the people who matter most. If you're looking for strategies to grow your art business, market your work effectively, and take control of your career, you are in the right place. In this episode, I want to talk about your artist statement because I think it is the key, the first step in taking control of your art career. If you think your art speaks for itself, think again. In today's art world, where attention is fleeting and first impressions matter, your artist statement remains one of the most powerful tools you have to communicate your vision. Many artists wonder if statements are still necessary. With social media and visual-driven platforms, some believe words are secondary to images, but words matter. A well-crafted artist statement ensures that the right people, collectors, curators, and writers, understand your work the way you want it to be understood. It gives your art a voice when you're not in the room. And the process of writing it makes you more articulate whenever you have to speak about your art. Writing an artist statement isn't just about fulfilling a requirement, checking off a box. It's a strategic part of your art career. This guide that I'm going to share with you in this episode and also on my website will help you craft a statement that is clear, compelling, and authentic to your work. If you'd rather read it, check it out at artbizpodcast.com and look for episode 221. So what exactly is an artist statement? An artist statement is a bridge between your art and your audience. It helps viewers, collectors, curators, and the media understand the work in front of them, and more importantly, experience it on a deeper level. There is no single correct way to write an artist statement. Some are poetic, others direct. Some are deeply personal, while others focus more on process or technique. The right artist statement is the one that best serves your work and your goals while inspiring others to engage more fully with your art. You might even create different versions for different purposes. A formal version for exhibitions, a conversational one for your website, or a single sentence version for quick introductions. That kind of flexibility is not only allowed, it's encouraged. For as long as art has existed, people have written about it, analyzing it, interpreting it, categorizing it. And if you're not shaping the story around your art, someone else is going to do it for you. Your statement allows you to take control of that narrative, ensuring your work is seen, understood, and remembered the way you intend. Communicating effectively about your art begins with your statement. You have to understand what your art's about before you can share your message in other formats or through social media channels. This is accomplished through the process of writing your artist statement. And it is a process, which I'm going to help you begin right here and now. If you struggle to put words to your work, you are not alone. We've got to acknowledge that writing about your art is hard. As I said at the top, many artists feel that their art speaks for itself, resisting the idea of having to explain it. Others worry that writing an artist statement will strip the mystery from their work. And then there's the simple fact that finding the right words to describe something visual is challenging, even for experienced writers. But here's the thing. It's precisely because writing your artist statement feels difficult that you need to do it. The process of articulating your ideas in writing is much more important than the final statement itself. Through the process, you are forced to clarify your thinking. You might believe you know exactly what your art is about until someone asks you to talk or write about it. The process of getting those thoughts out of your head makes you more aware of your choices. your themes, and your intentions. Through the process, you become a better communicator. Whether you're talking to a curator, collector, or journalist, being able to describe your work clearly makes you sound more confident and professional. Through the process, you strengthen your connection to your audience. Viewers engage more deeply when they have a way in, when they understand the broader ideas behind your work. And through the process, you accumulate language for everything else. Because once you've written your artist statement, you'll see how that language can be repurposed across your website, in social media posts, grant applications, and interviews. Now, it's not going to be easy, but neither is making art. Just like your studio practice, writing about your work takes effort, revision, and patience. The first draft isn't going to be perfect, and it shouldn't be. You're too close to your own work to get it right immediately. But the more you write and refine, the clearer your message becomes. Stick with me. I'm helping you through it. Before you can write your artist statement, you need to spend time getting to know your work from a fresh perspective, and that begins by journaling about your art. I highly recommend doing this the old-fashioned way with pen and paper. When you type into a computer, there's this temptation to edit yourself and try to make it perfect, to grammar check, spell check, look up words in the thesaurus. That's not what we're after now. This is no time for perfection. Allow the words to flow freely in your journal. Your goal is to get as many thoughts down as possible without judging them. You're collecting raw material you'll refine later. So here are 3 prompts to start with. Write in depth. Don't rush the process. The first prompt is, what do you most want people to see in your art? What's important to you? What do you want viewers to get about your art? Is it your labor, a special material, an emotion, color, line, texture? Once you pinpoint that answer, write about how you handle this aspect of your work. Think about what you emphasize, why it matters, and what specifically you're doing to bring this out so that others get it. The words you choose for your statement should serve as clues that lead viewers to these discoveries. For example, this is one of my favorites. Saying, "I love color," is weak. Who doesn't love color? Instead, describe how you respond to color and how you use it to transfer meaning from your head and heart to the viewer. Remember, you can get all of these prompts at artbizpodcast.com, episode 221. The second prompt is, what is a distinguishing characteristic of your art? This might be something different from that list that you just went through in the first prompt, or it could be something entirely different. What makes your art different from others working in a similar vein? What can you emphasize through words that set your work apart? Part of your job, if you haven't figured this out already, is to educate people about how to look at your art. Most people, through no fault of their own, haven't had a visual education. They need to be gently directed to what to notice and what to appreciate. Prompt number 3. What do other people find delightful or surprising about your art? If one person comments on it, chances are good that others notice it too. Listen to what people say about your art. Their discoveries might surprise or even confuse you, but understanding how others interpret your work is part of the communication process. So think back on previous conversations you've had about your art. You might uncover new language just by reflecting on the insights of others. After you've responded to these 3 prompts, step away. Give it a day or two, then come back and write more. Again, your goal is to gather more words, enough to mine for meaning and clarity. Keep writing, even if it doesn't make sense yet. You're not writing your statement just yet. You're doing the necessary work to get there. Now that you've gathered your thoughts through journaling, through gathering all those words, it's time to start shaping them into a statement. But before you dive into writing a draft, keep these guidelines in mind. They'll help you focus your message and avoid common pitfalls. They are 7 rules every artist statement should follow. The first, write in first person. It's a statement, after all. It's something only you can say. But be mindful of overusing personal pronouns, I, me, my. You'll trim many of them during editing, but just know that that is a goal to eliminate a bunch of personal pronouns. The second rule is to stick to the body of work you're trying to define. Focus your statement on a single cohesive body of work. And yes, as I mentioned earlier, you have the flexibility to write multiple statements. If you try to describe different styles or directions in one statement, your language will become too general and you'll lose the specificity that makes a statement effective. If you work in distinct series or have more than one visual direction, write a separate statement for each one. Yeah, I get it. It's more work. The first statement's hard enough. But having separate statements honors the integrity of each body of work and gives your viewers a clearer experience. Rule number 3, avoid discussing influences. This is not the place to include teachers or historical figures who influenced you. As soon as you name someone else in your artist statement, readers start comparing. You want them to stay focused on your art, not to wander into the past or future or another website. Rule number 4, don't use quotes from other sources. We all did this when we started English class, and we're not in English class anymore. You may have been taught, like I was, to begin an essay with a quote, but your artist statement should rely on your own voice. Remember, it's a statement. Quoting others distracts from your message. Rule number 5, keep your biography separate. Your bio is written in the third person, while you're writing right now in the first person. And it's about your art. Your artist statement is about the art, not about you. These are 2 distinct documents. And by the way, sometimes combined on an about page, or if you just need a paragraph about you and your work, or a couple paragraphs about you and your work. But a biography is separate from a statement. Rule number 6, let your statement evolve. This document is not your life's treatise. You won't be defined by the words you choose forever. It should grow and mature alongside your work. Don't cast it in bronze and consider it done. Avoid treating it like a finished product you never revisit. A good statement can and should change over time, just like your art. Rule number 7, keep it short, really short. Most artist statements don't need to be longer than a paragraph or 2, although I understand that there is a place for longer statements that enlighten us. But always aim for brevity. If you go longer, be sure that every word adds to your message. If not, cut it. We're going to get to that. These guidelines, or rules, as I call them here, will keep you grounded as you begin shaping your raw thoughts into a meaningful artist statement. But how will you know if what you've written is working? There is one simple test that your artist statement needs to pass, and it has nothing to do with perfect grammar or flowery language. I want to make sure you understand this before you begin writing. Remember, I said your artist statement is a bridge. It's something that connects the viewer experience to your work. A bridge connecting the viewer's experience to your work. It's not just a piece of writing to check off that to-do list. It should deepen curiosity and draw people back to your art. That's the ultimate test. After someone reads your statement, or even during, do they feel compelled to look at it again? After someone reads your statement, do they feel compelled to look at your art again? If they move on without taking another glance at the work, your statement hasn't done its job. This doesn't mean or give you leeway to be didactic. In fact, you don't want to tell people exactly what to look for. That takes away the magic of discovery. Your job is to guide, not to instruct, to open a door, not to walk them through it. Now that you understand the role your statement plays and how it connects with your viewer, let's talk about how to shape the raw material you've gathered into a compelling draft. You've done the deep thinking, you've journaled, reflected, and collected a pile of words. Now it's time to begin shaping those words into a first draft. Like this whole process, this step isn't about perfection, it's about clarity and intention. Remember, you are not obligated to use everything you've written. In fact, you shouldn't use everything you've written. This initial writing process that got you to this point was for you to help you get the thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Now you're writing for the reader. It's time to start selecting the most relevant, insightful pieces and begin molding them into a statement that's true to your art and clear to others. Don't be so in love with your first round of writing that you can't cut or reshape it. You haven't wasted a word. Scraps that don't make it into the final version can still be used for social media captions, website copy, or grant applications, and so many other things. Please don't try to write a perfect version on the first try. What you're writing now is what author Anne Lamott famously calls a shitty first draft. You need to let the ugly version exist before you can turn it into something meaningful that you're proud of. You'll write and rewrite the same ideas that you've already put down. You'll move words around. You'll find better ways to express something that you thought was already finished. This is normal. Welcome to the world of writing. This is part of the process. Give yourself time and space in between writing sessions. This is part of the process, and it's not unlike making good art. There's a process of seeing, absorbing, moving around, working over, deleting. Writing is the same way. Give yourself time and space between writing sessions. When you return to your draft, you'll see your words with fresh eyes, and that's when things start to click. Once you've written a draft, don't hit publish or send just yet. Take a break. Again, give yourself a little distance from your words, at least a day or two. When you come back, you'll be better equipped to spot what needs refining, and this is where the editing begins. In particular, watch out for 5 common offenders that weaken artists' statements. Cutting them will instantly sharpen your message and make your writing more effective. Here are the 5 offenders that I want to make sure are not in your artist statement. The first is the word unique. Just don't. The word unique has been so overused that it's become meaningless. And let's be honest, your work probably isn't unique in the truest sense of the word. All art is informed by what came before. Instead of claiming uniqueness, describe your work in a way that makes the reader feel it's one of a kind. Focus on your distinguishing characteristics. Let your specificity speak for itself without having to use the word unique. The second offender I want you to look for are cliche phrases. You've seen these and maybe even used them, but these are words that I look for when I'm editing an artist statement. I am excited by. I've always been an artist. I have to make art. My work is about the human condition. These cliches flatten your voice. The phrases that follow them are usually vague and unmemorable. So dig deeper and say something that only you would say. The third offender, redundant sentences, adjectives, or thoughts. Say it once, say it clearly, and then move on. If you find yourself repeating ideas using slightly different words, you're not adding meaning, you're adding clutter. We all tried to bulk up our essays in high school or undergraduate school or even graduate school. We wanted more words. That's not what you're after here. Tighten up your statement so each sentence earns its place. This brings me to offender number 4, adjective overload. A string of descriptive words separated by commas doesn't make your work sound more interesting. It makes your reader have to do extra work. If your statement has more than 3 or 4 commas in a single sentence, take a closer look. Trim the excess. Choose 1 or 2 carefully selected adjectives that actually add value and mean different things. Then read through your entire statement and check for what I call strings of 3 adjectives. You're allowed 1 string of 3 per statement. Offender number 5, excessive personal pronouns. I mentioned this before. Yes, your statement is written in the first person, but that doesn't mean every sentence needs to include I, me, or my. Try removing them in the editing phase. You'll be surprised how much more concise and powerful your writing becomes when you can eliminate some of those personal pronouns. Once you've written a strong statement, don't just tuck it away, put it to work. A well-written statement becomes the foundation for how you communicate about your art across many platforms. You'll find yourself reusing and repurposing your words in a variety of situations. Add it to your website. Now, this is an obvious one, but here's something to consider. Can viewers see your art while they're reading your statement? If possible, place your artist statement near your artwork on the same page or right next to the images, or add artwork to your artist statement page. It's more impactful when viewers can look at the art while absorbing the words. Now, I know some templates make this tricky, so think of it as a preference, not a rule. But remember, our ultimate goal is to get people to look at the work. You'll also include your statement in exhibitions and gallery materials. It can become a label or wall text introducing your show. It can become copy for a brochure or a handout. The foundation of your artist talk at an opening or event. I think you can take your artist statement, a good artist statement, turn it into a whole talk. For wall text and printed materials, feel free to leave off the words artist statement. Most people outside the art world really don't know what that means, and people inside the art world aren't crazy to read artist statements. So instead, just let it simply read as engaging, informative text about your work. You can also use your artist statement in applications. You can pull from it when applying for grants, residencies, shows, and proposals. You can also adapt it into a teaching or project statement when you need it. And you can drop your artist statement into conversations and content. A few sentences from your artist statement can, as I mentioned, form the backbone of your artist talk or a video introduction. It can be in your email signature block. It can be included in social media captions, newsletter blurbs, and blog posts. Once you have written a compelling artist statement, you will have go-to language you can reuse with confidence. Writing your artist statement might be one of the most challenging things you do in your art career, but it's also one of the most rewarding. I mean, to get those words down is amazing. You don't have to get it right the first time. You just have to get started. The words will come with time, reflection, and revision. Like your art, your statement will evolve as you grow. What matters most is that you commit to the process, because it's through the writing that you'll articulate what's most essential about your work. And if you're ready to take the next step to get the essentials of running your art business with more clarity and confidence, I would love to support you inside my program, Essentials. It's designed to help you strengthen your professional foundation, share your art more consistently, and connect with the people who need to see it. You don't have to figure it out all alone. Let's focus on what matters most together. The artist statement, as I said, it's the backbone of everything that you do. What's coming up inside of our Essentials program is a whole season, 4 months, focusing on the content you create for promoting your work online. It starts with the Content Compass on May 6th through the 8th, and then we kick off a whole season for flourishing online. It helps for you to have your statement before you start marketing online. I don't know how anyone can promote their work without the words for it. So again, check us all out. It's at artbizsuccess.com/essentials. Let's do this together. Thank you for inviting me into your busy artist's life and for showing up for your art. We need your work now more than ever.